Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to the video as we look at part 2 of this two-part of the Three Musketeers. Part 2, Milady. This is once again requested by Eelco. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. I do have a Patreon and CashApp for those interested. Links are down below in info box. I'll get to it as soon as I can. And for those who sent them, thank you. I really do appreciate it. Now, I mentioned all this stuff in the previous video, so I don't want to repeat that, so feel free to watch that if you want to be up to date. The long story short is, in France in 2023, they did this two-piece in the biscuit, two-parter movie where they filmed it back-to-back of the Three Musketeers. Although, to be honest, this didn't really add anything. And it's funny, I mentioned how like part 1, because the story's so familiar to me, because I watched the Disney Three Musketeers, and of course know of the story, so it feels very familiar. This, it wasn't familiar to me, and yet I like the first one more than this one. Because this one really was all about nothing. Like, it's 2 hours long, and I'm like, I don't think it was a story worth telling. So D'Artagnan, who became a musketeer in the first one, he has his girlfriend. He gets knocked out. His girlfriend gets taken. He's in a coffin. He kicks and knocks the guy out. This guy leads him to this cell, and he finds his girlfriend, but also finds Milady. I'm trying to think. Was it this one where they find out he's the... Or was it the first one? Yeah, I think I got confused when I reviewed the previous one. This is where they find out that he's the... Milady is the former wife of Athos. But see, I watched these back to back, so I got confused and kerfluffled, so I put them together. So, oops. Sorry, my mistake on where I reviewed the first one. You find out in this one who Milady is and what she does. So finds her. They escape through the woods. She tries to seduce him. He says no. They get found out. Have a little bit of a knife fight. Then one thing leads to you find out is Vincent Cassel's Athos' wife and the mother of his kid, who he thought was dead, but obviously is not. Again, I said that when I reviewed the previous one, but I got misconstrued, and because I watched them back to back, and this one is kind of blends together, very forgettable to me. Because as the title suggests, it's much more about Milady. But you don't really find out much about her other than she's the former wife of Athos, which you thought he'd be much more prominent into what's going on here. No, instead at one point he goes to see her and she puts a knife to his neck and tells D'Artagnan and them, put your weapons down. And then after that, you think it'd be much more Athos going after her. There's a whole fight scene at the end in a building, in a burning building. Oh yeah, okay, Athos is going to be fighting her because that's going to be much more prominent in terms of, you're the mother of my kid, what's going on here, but you're doing bad things. Why are you doing such bad things now? Why are you doing all these things? You don't really get an answer to that. And they had like 2 hours to answer that. Instead, they have this whole bit where the king, which is what happened in the previous film, wants to send his army to attack these other guys. Considering it's called the Three Musketeers, 2 of them don't do much of jack shit. Porthos and Aramis. Other than one of them has a sister, and they're trying to get the sister's hubby to get the hell out of there. He's like, no, I won't budge. and pretty much just killed by a damn explosive, cannonball. Then they lie to the sister and say he died valiantly in battle. One is going to get married with a girl who's with the sister of this other guy. It's so forgettable, and I'm like, it's called the Three Musketeers, and two of them don't have much jack shit to do with the main thrust of the plot, which is D'Artagnan wanting to get his girlfriend Constance back, or Milady being a two-faced bitch, and the Milady's going to try to kill the Duke of Buckingham, but then she gets caught. All this stuff, two of the Three Musketeers have nothing to do with. They never have to do with Milady. I'm like, why would you, if it's a Three Musketeers movie, why would you sidetrack two of them for these bullshit, pretty much useless subplots that don't amount to a hill of beans in the world? That just seems like a weird fucking thing to do. Maybe, again, that's based on the story that's based on. I never read it. If so, then no wonder why people didn't adapt that part of the fucking story. It doesn't seem as interesting as the first part. Hannibal is the Black Musketeer, and I know he's based on someone. What was his name? But I guess there's a way to get a Black Musketeer in it. Okay, who is he based on? Inspired by what's his? Aniaba? Aniaba. Who the fuck is Aniaba anyway? An African prince. Whatever. It's just the way they have a Black Musketeer in there, and he's just there to help out in this battle. At one point, Athos's brother is caught because he's one of the rebels, and he's pretty much drowning. Athos doesn't know that yet, and he's going to try to cut some of these guys down on a cross. D'Artagnan goes with him, as well as another guy. They're ready to shoot him because they think they're deserting. But then Hannibal comes up and goes, no, put that shit down. The king gave me power. Look, kiss the ring, bitch. Kiss the ring, motherfucker, and suck my dick. And they do it. Well, they don't do that. Maybe off camera they did. And they let the characters go to rescue Constance. Not that that fucking matters, just spoilers. Constance is with the Duke of Buckingham, who's treating her well, but then she feels sorry for Milady. I'm like, she just tried to murder the Duke. Number one. So she goes in some bullshit, feeling sorry for her, and decides to switch with her. You take my clothes, I'll stay here. I'm like, you do know she's up for murder, attempted murder, right? So then the guards come in, and she's like, I need something to tell you. I'm like, what do you expect? A song and dance? A dinner? A trip to SeaWorld? What the fuck do you expect, Constance, you fucking idiot? So then, lo and behold, she gets hung. By the time D'Artagnan gets there, take her down, she says one or two things, then dies. So then D'Artagnan's pissed. So it's not Athos wanting to fight his former wife, the mother of his kid, which would be pretty palpable. Now, hey, this girlfriend of his died, which Understandably, he's pissed off. Goes after her. They fight in a burning building. Which doesn't matter because they both pretty much almost knocked each other out. She escapes. He's helped out of the building by the others. And then you have a fucking sequel bait ending. And that's why it's a sequel bait ending. Which I don't know if these films did that well for them to get another sequel. Like, all this for a sequel bait. So you know nothing about the Milady. You don't really know her deal. Why she's doing these things. Why does she hate her husband so damn much, ready to kill him? Oh yeah, the sequel bait ending is Athos comes home. His kid's been taken. And finds the little piece that it was Milady that took their son. That's what I mean by sequel bait ending. So I guess maybe it was going to result in another film where Athos does fight her. I would think. I guess I don't fucking know. I prefer the way like Kiefer and the was it Rebecca De Mornay? The way that was implemented in the Disney movie, I like that a lot more. I thought that was a bit more emotional, a bit more interesting. Here is like all for nothing. Like, think about it. Apparently that rooster outside, they're pissed off too. What's the point of this movie? We gotta go rescue the Constance. Well, she's dead by the end. Because she's a fucking idiot doing this switcheroo for no really good reason. Because she feels bad for it. Well, you don't get fucked over too, lady. What do you expect? Well, she expected to say something. Well, you don't think they would ever, like, shut you up? I don't know. Naive. I could tell it was a bad idea from the start. And lo and behold, it was. Probably she didn't realize it. Like, you don't find really much anything about the character Milady in its 2-hour running time. You don't really get much other than she wants to seduce D'Artagnan, get in his pants, and then wants to kill the Duke, A number one. Again, the 2 of the Three Musketeers goes on these, to me, useless venues. I don't know, that thing find annoying the piss out of me. I just, try to wake me up doing this fucking review. Maybe that's what the rooster's doing. I wasn't a fan of this. I wouldn't say I hated the first one. This one, it was a chore to sit through. It really was. I don't think the action scenes were nearly as good as the first. I mean, the fight in the... Well, okay. I'll put it this way. Let me backtrack a bit. I thought the fight in the first one, where the 4 of them are fighting the guards and make it look like one shot, is still the best action scene of both of these. I will say, though, that the fight between the 2 and the burning building was a better action finale than the one they had in the first one. Like during the wedding, and then one's trying to kill the teen, and it's just like a clusterfuck kerfluffle that they just abandoned the whole one-shot idea, which I thought was strange. But the action scenes in this, like D'Artagnan gets into a little decent knife fight with a guy. When they attack and Hannibal was involved, I mean, that I honestly don't remember much about it detail-wise. It didn't feel there was that much action in the movie. And what's there wasn't that memorable to me. The story I thought was in fluctuation of almost a fucking standstill, more like it. Because I learned nothing about Milady. The goal was to rescue Constance, then she fucking died. Athos, you don't really get a whole lot of character momentum of why is the woman who's the mother of my kid doing this? At least not enough to my satisfaction. I don't, it just didn't feel like this movie even needed to exist. It just felt like a lot of filler too, especially with the other two pretty much put out to the actual the main storyline. It just, I don't know. Thought that was very weird. Very weird. And it felt like Milady, they try to make her more and more like a girl boss, where she's she do this, do that better than anybody. She definitely seemed like the almost the better fighter against D'Artagnan. I don't know. This just wasn't for me. If it's for you guys, that's fine. It wasn't for me. That was for a lot of it. I thought was pretty boring. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you guys later. For now, take care. Bye bye.